Episode 2 is here today, guys. Last week's episode, we had Jose Gonzalez. If you haven't seen it, pretty much we talked about how he took over the high school team, and then how we met, and how he's actually building up this program. And, I got a little jealous because when I was there, we had none of what they have now. But all great things for him. Hopefully, we catch up soon in a future episode. But today, I don't know what you would call it. It's a really important episode for me because although I was only away for 2 years, I feel like I've known this person for like my whole life. Um, the way we bonded, the way we met, you guys gotta hear how we met and how our friendship grew. This guy, he's not just only like a photographer. He's I don't know if it's former, but he produced one of the best podcasts that I've seen. That's not part of mine. Um, he's done a lot. He's a Mr. 49er. You guys will hear about that later. I mean, he's like the best person you can pick your brain out of. I mean, we were always like together. So if I wasn't with them or he wasn't with me, they'd be like, "Hey, where is so and so?" So without further ado, let's bring up our guest, Naoki Gima.
Oh, amazing intro. I love that intro. Thank you, brother.
We cooked that up. Viewer discretion, none of this is scripted.
Just the way I like it. Just the way I
That's
like it.
that's the way you ran it. That's the way I run it. I mean, where do we even begin?
We got to start with how we met, right? That's how we got to start off.
So, okay, I'll give a little background on my end, and then you can give a little background on your end. So
Okay.
I transferred to Cal State University, Long Beach, or as the sports heads say, Long Beach State University, right? Honestly, it should be like, it was at that, like at one point, if I recall.
I think
But
so.
anyways, when I transferred, I knew nobody. Like, I mean it, nobody. So I was a junior transferring, and when I transferred, I took upper division, and I wanted to continue writing because I did it in community college. So I took 310, which is reporting for the Daily 49er, and I forget if it was 10 or 12 um, assignments you had to do that semester or articles, and half of them had to be news. I'm not gonna lie to you, like 73% were all sports. And I was writing, and I never knew who was my photographer. I saw the byline, Naoki Gima, and I'm like, who's this guy? So that's my end. We'll move on how we met. So then how do you like, because you did a lot for the 49er, obviously.
Yeah. So I was also a transfer. So Manny and I we transferred. You and I transferred the exact same year, right? We were both transfer juniors, and I got in through. There was a couple people from my JUCO at El Camino who were transferring to Long Beach, but who were also working for the 49er. So I got hired for the 49er as a photo assistant, but my position was really weird because they didn't know exactly what to do with me because I only shot sports at junior college. Like that's all the only thing I did. And Crystal, who was our EIC, she was like, okay, you can be kind of on both photo and sports desk, kind of in this hybrid role. Because I couldn't really fully integrate to the photo team because I didn't shoot anything else but sports. But I wasn't a full sports person because I didn't write. I wasn't a writer. And so I was like the almost a designated sports photographer for the 49er throughout my first semester there. And I remember like I had barely met a lot of the writers that I was shooting for because I was just assigned to just go out there and shoot.
Yeah,
That included, Porter, eventually, Matty G, who I'm sure we'll discuss later
we're
on.
gonna
And
get there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
And
storyline to this.
I don't even remember if you and I had ever emailed or texted before.
I don't think we have. Because
No.
I remember seeing you on. So we used the like for Kamiak, and you were the
Yeah.
assigned photographer every time. I don't remember if it was a Saturday game or a Sunday game. It was a weekend.
It was like I think it was like a Saturday night game.
Yeah, and I'm like, I always see these photographers. One of them has to be it. Like I know his name is David and that's Ivan.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so it's a 50-50. It's either him or him. So 33-33. And I remember, I'm in a wheelchair. What are you like 6 foot?
I'm 5'11" on like a good day.
Okay, 5'11", right? I'm
Yeah.
3'3", and we'll talk about that joke later. I'm on my chair, put on that 6x6 on the grass. It was before the game. And I'm like, I gotta meet this person. Like, good photos, but I don't know who it is. Who's like putting out my photos. And I remember like, damn, how am I gonna get his attention? I clearly tapped. I tapped you and I'm like, hey, I forgot how it went. You remember?
I think you were like, are you Naoki or like are you with the 49er? And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I'm like, are you Emmanuel? And you're like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And are you Naoki? I'm like, oh shoot, okay. I remember just feeling like something tapping my leg. And I was like, whose kid is trying to get my I'm like looking down, and then it's you. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's a man child with a mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
remember. And then,
it was women's soccer.
yeah. And then from there, we just bonded, I guess.
I
'Cause I
think
don't,
so, right? Because then you started coming around. Well, I was never in the newsroom like the
yeah,
whole first semester. And then I think it was like the following one, that spring.
because
It's
I
either
knew Matty G. I
you
knew
knew
Matty G.
Maddie.
Because we always sit next to
Yeah.
each other. And then, I don't want to take credit, but I think I started that elite sports desk the following semester. Because
Right. Because you started working with us.
I told Matty G, dude, apply for the sports position. And Matty G, he was his own kind. Like, he would have missed class, but he would have make up for it. I haven't heard from him for a month.
I just
He,
saw him like a couple of weeks. We just hung out like a couple of weeks ago,
yeah.
Matt and I.
So he comes up to me like one of the class days, and he's like, I'm the sports editor now." I'm like, "Oh, cool." So then the spring semester comes in, and I'm like, "Hmm." Like sports wasn't in my mind. It was more like podcast and multimedia. Like I love sports, and then I applied for like podcast assistant or something like that. I get an email like at 4 or 5 in the morning from Crystal,
Sounds
classic,
about right. Sounds
and
about
that's
right.
like, "Hey Manny, I saw you or at the time, whoever the Layla multimedia told me you applied for that. I thought about a better role. What if you join the sports desk and become the sports assistant?" I texted Matty G like at 7 or 8. Hey man, so do I call you boss now?
Hey, we gotta talk about that sports desk, that spring 23.
I'm saying it was elite because we worked like 4 or 3 games in one day.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
It was a combination of you and Maddie. Well, all of us could write, right? Me,
yeah,
you, Maddie, and Sunny, who was our photo editor. We could all write game stories, right?
yeah.
But you and Maddie didn't shoot. So me and Sunny, we were at like every game covering it.
And then
And
Sonny
it
would
was
go to
just like
away
a
games too.
yeah, you guys would go to away games. So there was this particular day that I mean I remember this very fondly because I covered women's softball at like I think it was like 2 or 3 o'clock. Justin Gans wrote that game story. I only stayed for like maybe 3 innings because then was it volleyball first or basketball first? I think volleyball was first. I want to say
No, it was
uh,
basketball
then
because
volleyball,
we got
right?
Chick-fil-A.
We did.
Yes.
So then men's basketball played at like 5. I covered that, and I think
I was covering basketball. I was
you
writing
covered
basketball.
basketball.
Cause remember how I told you I was
Maddie,
sitting down? How Hawaii fans they travel well. Dude, they
they
were
do.
chirping. I had to take my hearing aids off. I'm like this. I could still hear them without them. Yeah, I remember.
and then Matt wrote basketball or volleyball right
Yeah,
after, like what was like a 7 p.m. game, 7:30 game or something like that.
something like that.
So for me, I was like, I did 3 games in the span of a day, got everything turned in on time. I remember like we had a meeting, one of the Monday night meetings or something like that, or one of the Thursday night meetings or something like that. And I don't know if it was Maddie that told me this or Crystal that said this, but we had published in the span of a week,
I was
like
there. Yeah,
like
they said it at the
17
meeting.
or
They
18
said it at the meeting.
stories.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was crazy. We were putting up crazy numbers, and on top of that, Nick, who was the other sports assistant, who was a sports editor, he was doing some like breaking, not breaking news, but some breakthrough sports news stories, like everything about the student fees and everything about the who was the athletic director at the time with Ted Katawaki.
and
Like he was on top of all of it.
he started the whole Walter Pyramid thing.
He did the whole
Like
leaking pyramid thing.
like I remember he wouldn't get interviews for a while, and then he kept pushing and pushing, and uh, the next semester, they got like they went inside, they discovered them, and
Yep,
yeah,
it was elite. That semester was probably one of my most productive
I,
like photography semesters I think I've ever had.
and then the following semester we come back. I'm moving in. They're like, Manny, why aren't you the team? I'm like, huh? I'm like,
Oh
what do you
yeah,
mean? I applied. I never heard anything. Well, it turns out my application never went through. So then I had to make a decision. I even told Crystal like, hey, I would join back, but I have to wait and hear back from the communications department. And, we still
right.
kept close, and I'm actually wearing NCAA championship right now.
That's so good.
And so I ended up doing it with them, but we still kept close.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
I would argue we got closer like that semester, like
yeah,
me, you, and Matt. I mean, not because you weren't working with us, but because I think our relationship level shifted quite a bit.
I went higher, and yeah, I mean, I'd still be at the games even when you were shooting or not, still be there
Yeah,
doing my thing.
it was. I mean, and then Matt almost didn't come back. That fall either.
I remember our EIC Crystals. She's like, I don't know if you texted me or Crystal texted me. Someone texted me, or Matt might have texted me, and they're like, "Hey, Crystal wants to talk to you and Matt, or Crystal wants to talk to us." We went up there. We went upstairs. We're talking, and she's like, "I thought you guys betrayed me, like my two sports writers." And like, oh, I she thought we hated her for a while. Like, no, no hard feelings. I thought the opposite.
It's just like that summer was very hectic, chaotic. Yeah. So I remember um towards the end of so I had started coming around a little bit more to the newsroom like towards the end of the first fall of 22. And but like still not a crazy amount, just like pop my head in here and there, whatever, before I go to work. And I remember Isabel at the time, who was our podcast editor, right before winter break, like I'm literally saying like the Friday or Thursday before winter break. She said like, "Hey, we want to start this podcast in the spring with me, you, Sonny, and Maddie. Are you down?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." Like teed up, we came back that spring and we started it. So the original crew was me, Sonny, Isabel, and Maddie. And let me educate you on the backstory of the whole pickle break, food
Yeah,
break
I'm
thing that we
curious.
did on Teed
They're
Up.
they're good segments, but I want to
Yeah,
know. I want to
so
know.
this is like the week of, or like, yeah, the first Teed Up recording ever, right? We're like me and Matt, we're brainstorming, we're just kind of thinking of stuff. And our Maddie had brought up the fact that one of our dirtbags, baseball players, Armando Briseño, he plays for the Portland Pickles. I was like, oh, like that's pretty interesting. So we went on this whole tangent of like looking at the Portland Pickles like jerseys and like highlights and stuff like that. And then Maddie brought up the fact that he had a pickle zine, a little pickle magazine.
I
We
remember seeing
went through
those.
that.
I got the
Yeah, we
stickers
went.
somewhere in here.
Yeah, and then we started looking up like we went on like in this like 2 hour tangent, Manny. Like this tangent was like 2 hours. And we were just talking about pickles and we were just talking about pickle related facts, right? Like guys, athletes with pickle names and how and that's really where Pickle Brick was born. Then we pitched it to Isabel. We are like, hey, can we talk about this? Can we have a segment like this on our show called Pickle Break? And then it just kind of that I think to this day, where I've been a part of it for 3 seasons, and we've had three different food breaks. We have pickles,
38
bananas,
episodes.
and hot dogs.
I did my homework.
Yeah,
38.
uh, yeah, they're pretty good. 38 is that how much it is?
38 or 39. I just saw it a
38.
minute ago.
I believe it
Yeah.
honestly. But pickle break, I think is still my favorite. I think out of all three of them.
I mean, Banana Break, got the Franks.
Yep.
I would say Pickle Break. I like the first season. Okay. I like the first season better because it was chaotic. There was no formality. And you guys just went in there. And then obviously you guys grew teed up really well. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you started talking to President Jane Conley, um, Cam Akers, Lena Myers, the golf twins.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, so then this goes into so season one ends. Isabel and Sunny graduate. They both graduate. So then it's left to me and Matt to run the show. And I'm talking to Maddie in the summertime, and he texted me midsummer that he was not going to be able to come back academically. Like he was not admitted.
I was in that, not in that same text chain, but similar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So then I'm telling you, like me, Crystal, and Aiden, who ended up being our podcast editor after Isabel, we had like legit, I kid you not, like I want to say it was like a 3 to 4 hour, maybe closer to 5 hour Zoom meeting in terms of what's going to happen to Teed Up come season two, that fall of 2023, because there was a chance that we weren't going to have Matt. Like Matt had put up his petition to be reinstated into the school and everything. So we were still waiting on that, and it wasn't 100% sure if he was going to come back. So we were like exploring options of like, okay, who can be the second host to me? It was, Maher's name was brought up, who's a really good friend of mine, Kevin, yours.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that wouldn't work.
yeah, a lot of names were popped up. And then, we were also tossing around what ideas we could bring and what the flow of T-Dub would be. Surprisingly, season one was our most organized like season because
Mhm.
we were having like legitimate like scripts. Like they were like sometimes 2 pages long
Yeah, I
of just
remember seeing those scripts.
content.
I always asked Isabel, can I get the raw file unedited version? It's like, yeah, I'll
Oh,
send it to you. I never got it.
no one
Isabel,
wants
if you're watching this, I'm still waiting for it. You know where to
no one
find
wants
me.
to no one wants to see those raw files. There's some terrible,
Because I
terrible.
hear stories. I'm like, no, I gotta see it for myself.
Yeah, and then season two rolls around. Maddie's back. He's back as a host, not on the Daily 49er
Yeah.
staff though, because that had filled itself out. So I ended up becoming the photo editor that year, and I'm starting out my final year of college as the photo editor without arguably two of my closest friends, like with me on the team. Like I'll have to start fresh
How did it
with a
feel,
fresh
man?
news
How
with a
much pain
fresh
did
news
it put you
sports
through?
desk. Like, dude, I'm telling you, like, I didn't know. So the Davis Ramage, he ended up being the new sports editor in place of Matt. And just because he took Matt's spot out of Davis, I don't know if you're gonna watch this. I hope you see this. And I love Davis
We'll push it.
now.
We'll push it to Davis and the other.
Yeah, I'll text this to him. I'll
I
send this.
I think sorry 23 24 sports fall spring of 23 was we started where you're finishing right now.
Yeah, we no. The thing is that like so I was not mad at Davis.
No.
I didn't like Davis initially because he took Matt's spot. Like I said, Davis is nothing against you as a person. It's strictly because you took my boy's spot, right?
You know, the way
Then
you felt, I was I felt the same way about Maddie C. Like, damn. that could have been me. Sometimes I think about it. What if my application would have went through? With Matty G, I could have been up there. But there's no looking back. I met them,
Yeah.
great guys, went to a game together.
Oh yeah. Alyssa's great too. Alyssa was amazing too. She was great. And then I got to meet Maddie C and eventually and then I had created this like fake beef with Davis to mess with Crystal. I kept telling Crystal like, man, Davis is pissing me off. Like I swear, like he's starting to piss me off, whatever, whatever. And then Davis and I we got to talking to each other one day in the newsroom. And then Crystal kind of looked at me like, "Are you guys okay?" We're like, because they're living crap out of it. But like, no, we're fine.
Yeah.
So then Davis and I would end up working very closely together. Um, and then okay, we're kind of digressing. So back to Teed Up. Um, yeah, so season two happens, and there's really no real plan or direction. I had an idea, and it was just about getting Matt on board, right? And Matt was on board with it. He was just glad that he was still a host,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so we started off with having like other students, right? We started off with, Maher and Kevin and you and Maya Claire and just a lot of our mutual friends, right?
Yeah.
And some of the employees for the 49er. And then there was this one guest in particular that would go on to change the tide of Teed Up for the rest of the season and the following season. Um, so in the summer, Ted Katawaki retires officially. They hire Bobby Smitherin as the new athletic director. I went to his press conference in the summer, and they had like formally announced his hiring like in early late August. And then I had brought up the idea to Aiden, I think, and Matt of, hey, what if we get Bobby Smitherin on our pod? We were really close with Roger Kirk. Manny, I know you know Roger. Roger, if you're watching this, I love you. Lindy, you too. I love you guys. You guys have been so crucial to my career.
Shout out you guys. You helped both of us in a way.
Seriously, they've helped out so many people. Like they're true blessings. So I remember, I don't know if I emailed Roger initially, and then he called me on my phone, and we discussed like, okay, like what can we talk about, what can we not talk about, and it was like starting to really like come to fruition. Like this could actually be happening. We're getting the newly appointed athletic director onto our podcast, and we were like, oh no, this could be happening like at any day now. And it happened. Like still to this day, one of the trippiest things that's ever happened, getting him on the show. Amazing guy. We're not going to discuss what he said to the AP during March Madness, about the team and everything.
If you
The
guys
whole
want to
back.
watch that, there's Google. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
I
Google
still love the
it.
guy though. I still really think he's still a genuinely just a great
He's a
person.
he's a great guy because I met him too. You know, because I mean, outside of athletics, I was helping out the first ever collective for Long Beach State, which was the volleyball team, right? And I
Right.
was working the gala. I was sitting down, and I see Bobby. I mean, I knew Bobby because of the whole announcement, and then I saw the Teed Up episode, and I walked up to him and I'm like, "Hey, Bobby, my name is Manny. Blah. I saw you were on my friend's podcast." And I remember we had like a 5 minute conversation. And he's like, "Oh, tell me about yourself. Tell me about this." And he's like, "If you need help in anything, just let me know." And then that's how I grew close to him. He's a great guy.
But the reason why I say that's our most important episode is because that opened up the possibility for to eventually. So we were able to get some of our advisors, right? Barb and Gary. We brought in JJ Fiddler of the 562, a
I
guy
love
that
that. I love that episode.
with us and JJ.
Well, about how the whole 22 West, I forgot what it was at the time,
Oh yeah, yeah,
the little
yeah.
jokes and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, they need to bring those back.
Those are good.
Those were
And
good.
then I remember during, I think it was Thanksgiving. One of my friends had hosted like a Friendsgiving thing, and I had thought about it one night, and I brought it up to Crystal, who was at this gathering, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think about getting Jane Connolly on Teed Up?" And it was just like an idea. It wasn't like anything like well thought out or anything. And
Yeah,
even at the time, there was like I didn't know of a way to even try to get her on. And I was like, why don't we bring her and Vice President Scott Appel, who's the CFO,
mhm.
the Chief Financial Officer. And then I remember like a week or two before we were about to go to winter break, I sent an email to both of their offices right next, and Aiden was like right next to me as I sent out these emails.
Yeah.
They responded, both of their desks responded within like a day with like, oh yeah, we'd love to. Just let us know a day and time. And then we got it scheduled for the very first week of school of the
I
spring of
remember that was
2024.
it was a weird week.
Yeah, because the
The
strike
strike,
happened.
it only lasted a day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and we discussed that on the show, which was
yeah.
really interesting. And then after that, I don't think we really had any. We were able to get Zaina Meyer, your friend,
Shout out Zena.
uh, the golf twins, Jasmine and Janae Loval. So we were able to get a couple of student athletes. We were able to get the athletics, Sam Blum, who covers the Angels for the athletic. And then I think, and then eventually Coach Acker and Bobby again. And I think those are the other. So Bobby really gave us the confidence to say, okay, we can get these people on our show. Like they're not out of reach, right? We can
Yeah,
do this. And that really like changed our mindset for how we started doing the show from season 2 to season 3. And I graduated. Maddie still has, I think, a year left, I want to say.
both Maddie's
Uh,
actually. I I
both,
told I told Maddie, see, hey Maddie, see, let me look at your contract real quick. And just give me out a joke. I'm like, just say, shout me out at the joke. And it actually happened at the last episode. I have
yeah.
that clip.
But so Maddie C, who's the sports assistant, he will be taking my spot. Well, I guess Maddie G will take my spot, and Maddie C will just slide in for Maddie G's spot. I don't know how they're gonna run it. Um, so I'm actually really excited as to what they do with the show. You know, do they switch it up completely? Do they kind of carry on the same things that Maddie and I did
Yeah.
across 2 and 3? But I'm genuinely really excited. And I told Matt, like, if you're gonna bring me back for an appearance, Matt, I know you're gonna see this.
If you
Like,
don't
bring
see
me.
this, man, I suffered. I suffered. I watched all teed up episodes. So, yeah, you gotta watch this.
Okay, wait. Let me ask you something then. What episode is your favorite? What's your favorite teed up episode? And I'll
Okay.
give you mine.
So I gotta go episode one. I don't remember like the title for it, but it was sunny. And we're talking shoes and basketball. Um, I forgot the title of it. I can look it up, but it was any
Oh, it's on
episode.
Spotify. It's not on YouTube. I
No,
don't
it's
think.
not. I don't think so. But it was any episode where Sonny was bashing the basketball team. But you were talking about shoes too, so it has to be that episode. But other than that, my favorite moment was the "I love you," the you Darvish.
Oh, when you were on their show,
Yeah,
that's such a good moment. That's still one of my favorite moments too. I love that moment. I think for me, my favorite episode, I think overall, the one with JJ was really good. I really enjoyed recording that. That was really fun recording it with him. Um, the one with Coach Acker towards the end of season 3 with Coach Acker and Bobby. And then I think the Connolly one, because of really just how special that episode is and how insane it was. Um, my favorite moment, I'll go. That's a good one. Your moment is good. The I love
it
you
happened
one.
naturally, you know.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about the play, and then we had a moment, we locked eye. You know, that's another story.
Oh, I think okay. Like a top 3 moment for me when we got to the Frank break segment.
Was it the apple juice?
Yeah,
And then
no,
she's like, "Oh
so
no, wait, my birthday's on Tuesday."
yeah. We were like, "Are you 21?" She's like, "Yeah, no."
At the time of this recording, I'm not.
It was so funny because of how quickly she answered it, and bless her, like she probably went into that appearance like not knowing what to expect, and just has these two idiots hanging out in the press conference room of the pyramid and just telling her random hot dog facts. Okay, because now, like, now that I've graduated, and I mean, if the people who are watching this and you're from Long Beach State, or you're a part of the 49er, or you're a fan of Long Beach State sports just in general, like, you're gonna enjoy this because there are so many athletes that I wish that I had gotten on our show. Zaina was like at the very, very top of our list to get, because we had talked about her so many times, because she's elite. One, she's an
She's a
elite
baller
player.
out there. She knows what she's doing.
Like, if I'm going like from basketball, Marcus Sahonis.
Speaking of Marcus, I want to formally apologize to you. Uh, when I wrote a story, it was late at night, and then I wrote Marcus Cajones, and
Oh
I
god,
sincerely apologize from the bottom of my heart and wish you the best in your career,
wherever you are.
wherever you go or are.
Yeah. Issa, I mean, Issa's playing right now from Team Mexico for the Olympics. Him and I still talk. We still text to this day. I wish I could have gotten him on. On men's volleyball, Mason. I wish I could have gotten Mason Briggs and Simon Porwe. I wish we could have had like Lena Solano from women's soccer
That would have
when
been
she was still
epic.
here. That would have been so good. Talk bicycle kick, talk NWSL, whatever. We tried to get her on for a little while. Didn't work out. And then I wish we could have had Dan Munson.
That would have been a great
That would have been
episode, actually.
that would have been so funny. I'm trying to think of like who else, like any dirtbag.
Yeah, they
Like,
just hired their new skipper.
yeah,
Yeah,
the new gaffer.
I saw that video they made. Um,
It's exciting.
USC's head coach, Colorado, like a bunch of other coaches.
Yeah. I mean, the state of Long Beach State like sports right now. I'm really excited for what Coach Acker is going to do with men's basketball. We'll be watching all their games, women's and men's volleyball. I'm extremely excited for, because it's mostly, well, at least on the women's side, it's mostly the same core of women that are over there. And you're also one of the best programs in the nation. Like, where else can you go?
I
You know what
mean,
I mean?
yeah, we're trying to get, was it 2018? Not that long ago. We're out there.
Oh yeah. Well, men's was literally a game away.
Yeah, I got hit. I got a clip, I'll probably put it on the podcast. I got hit by UCLA and people texted me and then they're like, "Why are you tapping him up?" I'm like, "What am I supposed to do?"
I remember being there for that entire tournament, and just like the electricity in that pyramid is it was insane.
It was a great experience, I got
It was phenomenal.
so I asked my guests come up with any questions, open questions. Um, I'm gonna give people a little context. Naoki knows this. I give him permission every time. I don't like, or I'm not a fan when people hold the question because of my size or disability. Honestly, if you have something that you want to say, it hurts more that you don't say it. But
Right.
anyways, Naoki, hit me with those questions.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody knows me and Manny's dynamic, I've never been afraid to ask Manny anything. Like, any about his condition, about his height, what he's capable of doing, what he can and cannot do with a person of his stature. But I'm not gonna, he told me to ask him anything. I'm not gonna go for like the low, like, no pun intended, low hanging fruit. Uh, yeah. First question is, what is your craziest party memory while partying with the athletes?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
You told me that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
I
no,
know
I
some of
like
these.
that.
I know some of
So
these stories,
I'm
but
not gonna give names because I don't want to get them in trouble. But
okay,
yeah, if you know me, or I guess it's. I mean, I graduated, so it's not gonna harm me. I got close with the men's volleyball team, like
sure.
really close. So I would party here and there. Now I'm not gonna give out dates because I don't want to get them in trouble. But crazy is wow, that's kind of hard.
That you can remember, right?
Yeah, because the craziest ones I don't remember. Yeah, because it was after volleyball, after the NCAA tournament that same night.
Okay,
They said because initially the plan was we win, we have that confidence, we're gonna go to Panama Joe's. So Panama Joe's is we converted it into the college bar where all the athletes go,
right.
and we were gonna go out, and then me and my closest friend from the volleyball team were like, "Man, I don't know if I want to go out. You know, I feel bummed. So we're bummed out." And then I get a text at like 10, and he's like, "Hey, man, I was convinced to go out. Should go out too. Come to my house. I don't know what time we're leaving." So keep in mind, it's like 10:30. I drive my chair to his house. I get there, leave my friend in his garage, and we're already leaving. I kid you not. We get there, we're sitting down. Man, I just want to forget about today. Well, literally, I forgot about that day. Drink after drink. Keep in mind that we're all free. I spent no money. I don't think I
Oh,
spent a dime in Long Beach when I went to the bar.
fair enough.
I drank after drink. My shortest memory at the bar, I crawl under the table to go to this chair, to go to the
Okay.
seat. And I tell my friend, "Hey, how we doing?" Blah, blah, blah. And then I wake up on my friend's couch. And I'm like, what the heck happened? Like, yeah, man, you got a little wild, shirt off, dancing, and we had to carry you out.
Oh no.
So that's what I remember.
Okay. My second question for you is if you were not 3 foot three, okay, what would be your, if you didn't have the condition that you had, what would you want to be your ideal height?
So this is going back to volleyball, actually. So my first party was like a
What?
red shirt or a red flag or red whatever line. And I told the boys, I don't know what to put. And then they're like, okay. And I knew Simon, he's like, at the time, he was the tallest boy on the team before Ben
Right.
Braun came along.
Mm.
And and I always joke around Simon, like, what position do you play? Middle blocker. I can do better than that. And I had to joke. And then the boys got the Sharpie and everything. And then they wrote on my shirt, I'm a 6'4" middle block.
So you would want to be 6'4".
I mean, I had to be anything above 3'3", but 6'4".
Well, yeah, but like you can also be like 4'11", but I don't think you want to be 4'11".
What's like the ab, like 5'10", 5'9"?
5'9", or 5'9", I think is the average height of the American, I think.
So like 5'10", but 6'4" would
Okay.
be 6'4" would be the ideal. I can actually reach for stuff.
Oh yeah. Like if you were like six, but if you were 6'4", would you want to play volleyball?
Um, I don't, maybe not middle blocker. But
No, but
I
like
always thought about, I always, after learning the sport, being a setter sounds interesting.
or an outside hitter.
Yeah, just the art of, passing the ball and the stuff
Yeah.
they do, you know, he, and then, but honestly, my idea would have been, be a middle linebacker, actually.
Football?
Yeah, just
So either
imagine.
either either way you'd end up back at your chair.
Yeah, yeah. After, like, both ACLs torn,
Yep.
I talked about this in my last episode because we talked about ACLs and MCLs, and I told you how I don't have an MCL.
Right.
So I said, I don't want to wish it upon me, but sometimes I want to know how that feels when someone blows up their MCL.
You don't want to know, bro.
I don't, just a curiosity.
I've told people that like I wish I was like you so that I didn't have an MCL that hurt. You know, I didn't have any ligaments in my knee that just constantly hurt all the time.
Yeah, I'll end up in my chair again. after
You
like
still, yeah, because of the copious amounts of CTE that you'd get from playing middle linebacker,
those
on top of hey, probably
concussions.
concussions, blowing out both your knees, probably like you're gonna end up like Ryan Shazier. The thing is, like expecting Peru to go far in Copa America is like expecting our Long Beach State men's basketball team to go to the Sweet 16 of the national championship tournament. It's
That
just
was
it's
that was an experience. That was a fun experience
oh
for me.
yeah. Oh yeah. Like, have you told a story about Utah?
No, I haven't told anyone. So obviously the whole it was kind of weird. March was weird for Long Beach State athletics. You know, we weren't expected to win the conference tournament. So
Nope.
our head coach Dan Munson was there for 17 years. I met Dan like prior to that because I did a story on him and yada
Oh,
yada.
yeah.
And we win the conference tournament in Vegas.
Yep.
And I remember it was also the volleyball game. We're playing Hawaii men's
Oh
volleyball.
yeah.
And so I'm at the front, the student section. I got my phone out. Everybody's watching. And then they end up winning. We celebrate. And then I think Hawaii scored a point. And they were like, why are they celebrating?
Look, and then they announced
They
it
announced it
on the
after.
PA.
And I remember they sent out an email, maybe on Sunday or Saturday. Like, hey, is anyone interested in going to Salt Lake, Utah, where we will play Arizona? And then maybe possibly furthermore, we're going to prioritize our boosters and all that. And if there's any left, I wasn't going to apply. But then Jason Garcia, who'll be on an upcoming episode, like,
Hmm.
Manny, let's do it. I'm like, do what? Let's apply. Remember, it's like 2 a.m. I'm like, all right, what do we got to lose? I'm asleep. I'm in class. I'm in NEA. I'm in NEA in the
Wait,
back.
yeah, yeah,
I want to do not disturb. You know how you have to call like 2 or 3 times to bypass it?
yeah, yeah.
I want to, I was in the middle of class. So I'm like, I can't talk right now. I'm in class. He's like, look at your email right now. I had like 10 minutes to give them my info,
No way.
my info and all that stuff. And then ever after class, I told you, I think I'm going to Utah.
Oh, I remember that day.
And like, I think I'm going to Utah. And so I think we left, because the game was either Wednesday or Thursday.
Hmm.
We left the day before. I found out Kevin was going. My hair was going,
Yep.
you know. And then we're like, okay, we can all go as the group. We get an Uber from the dorms. We get to the airport. Um, we're just there. I see Maddie C. Like, okay, there's like 20 of us. We still got this. And then, we're going there like vacation mode. 'Cause, no one expects us, not until Snoop Dogg put us to like, was it
Like to go to like the final four or like
something
this
like that?
elite eight or something.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, we get to Utah. It's like 9 o'clock. Now, Utah, if you heard of Utah, it's one of those states where they got curfew. So,
They
like, there
do.
was nothing to eat, nothing to drink when we got there. Like, we had to walk like a mile and a half to go find like authentic Mexican food. I grabbed these nachos
In Utah,
in Utah. Yeah, I grabbed these nachos. The meat is over seasoned. The cheese is not cheese; it's queso, like the Chipotle queso. And I'm like, I go back to the hotel. My stomach's like this. Like, oh man, what am I doing? Like, I wake up because we had to leave the hotel at like 10 or something.
hmm,
We had to walk the team out. We get on the bus, and then they're like, okay, guys. So if we win, you guys can explore Utah. If we lose, you got an hour to run back and pack, and we're going home. So like, damn. All right, so we got to be loud. We get there. The stadium was a vibe. The arena was a vibe. We saw Arizona fans, obviously. And
right?
they're like, honestly, guys, I'm more scared than you right now because of what happened to us last season when we lost in the first round. I forgot who they played.
Long Beach did?
No, Arizona fans.
Arizona, Arizona.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I mean, I hope it's a close game. It was a close first half.
It was.
Hey, we saw the alumni. There was an alumni basketball player that lives in Utah that now plays that played in Long Beach but lives in Utah. And
Oh,
we got to interview him. He's like, yeah. So we were close at halftime. Me and my friends go, we'll grab more beers and stock up. We come back. We're down by 20. And then like the minute like we're coming back, and number two, it was just amazing. We couldn't stop them, and so we ended it. We go back to the hotel, pack up, get back to Long Beach. Uh, I see Issa. Because we all flew in the same plane. So coaches and boosters were in the front, and everyone was in the back. It was a quiet flight home. We get there, and I'm like, not even 24 hours. It was more like 23 hours in Utah.
yeah, you guys weren't even there like a full day.
Now we're only there for 23 hours. And they told us to pack. Like you were there for a week. I packed. So I ended up using that clothes that I did use in Utah for the rest of the week.
Hey, W.
So now, post college, we're 2 months out.
Yep.
What is Naoki up to right now?
Right now, I'm working quite a bit. I have a couple like mini jobs. I work for a church called Journey South Bay that's based in my hometown of Redondo, helping out with their social media, helping out with their website content and everything. I do the same thing for a small swim school called Lucky Duck that's based in Gardena. I also have smaller like photo gigs. I've shot weddings. I'm going to do a quinceañera next week.
Cool.
A couple little events here and there that I'm doing photo for. I'm looking at our the job market for our industry is not particularly phenomenal.
It's not. I applied to 7 spots. Only heard back from two.
Yeah,
One, I'm debating. Like they like kind of offered it, but because it's remote, I have to be in charge of getting transportation to games. So I'm like kind of debating weighing my options. But
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of not the best.
And then I have a podcast with two of my really, really good friends called Street Logic,
Oh,
where we talk about the NBA in a much more unfiltered manner, I think some would say.
speaking of the NBA, congratulations. Banner
Thank
what?
you, brother.
17? 18?
18, baby. Come
Banner
on.
number 18.
I was in Boston for game
I
two.
was gonna ask you how was the trip, and I remember going looking at your story. You went to a Red Sox game?
I went to Fenway Park. I got a tour of Fenway Park.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's funny, Adrian. I don't know if you know Adrian Medina. He's now a beat writer for the Dodgers. Now
Mhm.
he was a guest writer for the 49er
Yes, yes.
all spring. He went to Fenway Park the day after me,
So
or something like that.
how'd that happen? Like, was it you always wanted to go to Boston for the game and you just booked a tour?
Yeah. So we I had booked the flight to Boston and gotten my game tickets for game two before the conference finals started. So we're still like 2 weeks out from the NBA finals, and there wasn't even a guarantee that the Celtics are going to make it to the NBA finals, right?
Yeah.
We make it there. I land there on, I think we left on Friday morning or Saturday morning or something like that. Um, the game itself in Boston was amazing. Could not have asked for like a better game to be a part of, and in that series in particular. I think that was like the closest. That was like the best game, I think, for me. I'm really happy. I'm just super happy right now. And now I'm just waiting for football season to start up, watching the Eagles with all the moves that they made in the summer and the draft that they had. And
I'm excited for football season, especially
uh,
these guys right here.
I don't, are you sure about that?
The Los Angeles Chargers, the moves we made this offseason, the new head coaching position, it feels
Okay.
like he's changing the culture. I mean, we're always good on paper, but I
Yeah.
want to see us. I mean, we got the strength conditioning coach from Michigan.
Mm.
So hopefully no more turn ACLs. We're eating our Flintstone vitamins. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was at dining hall when my
Okay.
when my Jason texted me, Manny, I'm so sorry, Keenan Allen to the bear. I'm like, nah, no, it's not. I'm not trying to keep it PG. No, no, it's not. I'm eating my pasta. Twitter rolls up. I look at it. I kid you not, I could not. I lost my appetite. And I went back to my dorm and I'm like, oh man, I don't know how to feel. Like the last San Diego Charger, well, besides Bosa is leaving. And then it took me about 2, 3 weeks to mentally process that. Like Keenan's gone, and I finally accepted it. I mean, we wanted Joe Hart, a GM that's not afraid, because we were over the cap limit entering the
Yeah.
season, and he did what Tom Telesco could never do: just let go of those players and get decent offers. And we got a pretty good receiver in this draft, the
Yeah.
Georgia State receiver. And
What's your what's like your favorite memory just from Long Beach in general, just going there?
honestly, well, besides Utah, besides the NCAA tournament,
Okay.
besides all those nights going out. I mean, does it have to be in Long Beach?
No.
I really liked it when we were like the old sports desk and the new sports desk went to the Angel Stadium.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
was a great day.
that
Me
was a
lifting you up, Lion King style.
Lion King, and so then obviously at the end of every episode, I let any guest leave a message to a viewer, similar position or any info. So if you can tell anyone that's going through or went through your shoes, what would you tell them?
Just don't be afraid of the uncertain. Don't be afraid of what you don't know. It's easy for you to feel that way, but opportunities will come to you. If a person like Manny, for example, can be extremely successful in what he does and have so many people that love him and support him and are going out of their ways to help him try to get a job, you can do it too as a normal person. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So,
get you.
like, if there's one thing I learned from Manny is that there's no excuses, right? Like Manny, in some ways, is at a disadvantage, right? He can't like have his own transportation, right? Like he can't commute to places. He has to do a lot of his jobs remotely, right? Like you were able to thrive because your workplace was just outside of your house, right outside your dorm. But
That's
if you
talking
had gotten
about.
a job at the LA Times up here in El Segundo, like, you know, it would be a lot more, it would be a lot harder for you. But for a guy like me, I can drive, right? I can walk, you can walk too, but I don't need like a wheelchair to get me around. So for me, like, there's no excuses for me to not go out there and pursue something. There should be no excuses. So I guess I'll close it out with follow my Instagram. a lot of a lot of the people that we know how much I love and care about you, you know. But for those of you who don't know me or don't know our dynamic between Manny and I, he's literally like a brother for life for me. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to have been a guest on this pod. I'm extremely honored to have been here. And if you haven't, please like and subscribe or whatever it is that you guys do to
Taking my
support.
outro. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, to support this guy. But take us out, Manny.
Yeah, so I mean, it was fun catching up with Naoki. I mean, we're 2 months post grad. I mean, I agree with what you said. I graduated on the 21st of May. I had no idea what I was. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I knew I wanted to bring back this podcast because it's been a year. I don't know if I'm at the level of fan out celebrity again. We'll work on it, but just talking to people around me. I mean, like you said, you want to go in Boston. I honestly want to go anywhere where I'm in sports. At first I'm like, I want to work for the Chargers, but then I really want to pain and suffer and conflict of interest. I mean, that'd be the dream.
Yeah.
If my future employer, the Chargers, watches this is all jokes. I would want to work for you. But yeah, no, Naoki, it's fun having you here. We gotta have you again with Matty G. hear his
Yep.
side of the story. Um, please don't sue me for what we're about to do, but I need to figure out my own sign, and
Okay.
I like the teed up sign, you know. So we gotta throw it up for the one time
Yes, sir.
teed up sign, teed up heart. Click here when like, subscribe, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're listening, watching. This is Naoki Gima.
Yes,
This is
sir.
Manny Can. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you on the next one.